We are back from holidays. It's Triple M NRL Daily. We've had to come back as the West Tigers are in crisis yet again.
They certainly are, Charlie. I'm going to have a little bit of a say, and I'll give you a tip on why. Whoever takes this job as CEO, it will be the toughest job in Australian sport.
Charlie, the fans are rallying, mate. We'll talk about the march. Looks like the fans are going to, they've got their backs up.
All that to come. Giddy up, Tigers fans. We tried to go on holidays, but we are back. Charlie White here. David Riccio, how are you, my friend?
Mate, we are back because the West Tigers bring us back.
That is right.
But, yeah, I was going to say we're the only ones working.
Yeah.
Because not much is working at the West Tigers.
It certainly isn't. Brent Read, how are you, my
You
friend?
dragged me off a beach, Charlie. I'm not happy. I was lazing on Manly Beach. I get a phone call. Mate, we're on. Tigers drama. Had to race in.
You've had drone issues, I hear, as well.
Oh, yeah. I just bought a drone. I'm going away, Charlie, but it looks like I may not get it in the country I'm going to. So that could cause drama at home.
Passport issues as well?
We had a lot of issues, Charlie, in my life.
See, your wife strikes me as very organised.
She's the most, absolutely. My wife is the most organised woman in the world.
Yeah.
I'm completely hopeless. Nothing's organised. Sunday, my wife looks at a passport. It's expired. Wow. We're leaving Thursday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, we've had a lot of rushing around. Yeah. But you know what? As poorly organised as this trip has been, it's nothing compared to the Tigers.
Well, obviously, Riccio did his presser yesterday or Monday. Well, he's gone. But what is the latest? Do we know who's replacing him, Dave?
Charlie, I still find this. I find it unbelievable that here we are after a 2025 season of optimism and hope. I would say in relation to the West Tigers, I thought there was some progression, and in the first week of December, Shane Richardson is walking away from the club. I just find, when your chief decision maker leaves the club, and now they are on the hunt for a CEO, two names of which is Tony Mestrov and Shaun Mielekamp, who's currently in a role at the West Tigers. Now, my understanding with Mestrov is, so quickly is this story moving with the West Tigers, and including, I understand there's a board meeting next week, guys, so we'll see what unfolds there. But every day is a new chapter. I don't know how keen Mestrov is. I really don't. And so here we are, where you're talking about a 30-year experienced CEO in Shane Richardson being replaced by a rookie, with great respect to Shaun Mielekamp.
Well, the only thing I'd say in Shaun's defence is he was at the Central Coast Mariners. Obviously a different code.
Well, that's going to help.
No, but Dave, they went through a lot of drama at the Central Coast Mariners, and they won a lot while he was there. And he has been involved. My understanding is he has been involved in all the contract negotiations with Jarome Luai and Jahream Bula. He's across it all. He knows where it's situated. I believe Benji. My understanding is he's got a good relationship with Benji Marshall. So and he interviewed. I believe he interviewed maybe this week for the job, and they walked away really impressed with him. Look, we can tell you he's not a league. Look, he hasn't been in a league for a while. As I said, he was in soccer in the A-League. Man, if there's a sport in this country that is racked by politics, it's soccer, right? And Shaun's sort of walked that line. I've spoken to people in football. Ray Gatt, who you know quite well, Dave. Ray is obviously a football reporter for a long time, and he speaks really highly of him. Riccio speaks really highly of him. And I think if they go that way, to me, if they don't go with Tony, Shaun's the obvious guy because he's been involved in everything that's been going on in that football club prior to Riccio going. Riccio brought him in on all the meetings, as I said, with Jarome, Benji. So he's abreast of everything. He's across everything. They're a long way down the path with Jahream and Jarome. And Shaun's been across that. So I think that would be the smoothest transition.
You know, I respect everything you're saying, and everything you're saying right. Yeah. However, I'm sorry, there's no other sporting club. I'm just trying to think of AFL just to correct myself, but I think there's not a club in Australian professional sport that's not mired by more drama and more issues in Australian sport. Now, Shaun has done a wonderful job in the A-League with the Central Coast Mariners, but it does not compare to the consecutive season after season of issues and failure of the West Tigers, and he will be taking on. He deserves, mate. He should be able to name.
What CEO in Australian sports experienced that before, Dave? No one. You're actually that role. If you define that role by the drama at the West Tigers and the drama that's being owned at that club, there is no CEO equipped for that. Because that joint's been madness for a decade. So there's no CEO in the game who's been through that, not just in rugby league, in any game.
Well, well, hopefully his crisis management is A1.
Yeah. Well, I think it is. I think, to be fair to him, I think as I said, I think Central Coast had plenty of dramas when he was there, so he knows how to handle a crisis.
So his job is to manage this board that just seems like completely out of control.
The rock and roller,
right?
Dennis Burgess. Who is that dribbler?
Dennis,
right?
Right?
So he has to manage the board. He has to appease the fans. He has to be able to sell a story and regain the trust and faith in a supporter group that are on their knees at the moment, such is the pain. And then he has to win over, if you're saying he hasn't already, the relationship with Benji Marshall and the playing group. It's a monumental task.
Huge. But as I said, Dave, I'm not sure there's anyone who's qualified for that job. So when you've got a guy like Shaun who's been at the club, admittedly for a short time, but been involved in everything, already has that relationship with Benji, already has a relationship with the playing group, I think he's probably better placed than most to be able to navigate that those demands that you say will be placed on the CEO. So, and as I said, I believe that he interviewed really well, for whatever that's worth. So I think he's now probably the favourite for the job.
Okay, that's big. What does it mean for Benji, though? Now, I saw an article came out today, which we maybe have to take with a grain of salt, but that 7 players will walk from the club if Benji walks. Is Benji furious with the situation?
I would say Benji, in respect to the playing group and Benji does have great relationships with a lot of players in that group. But a lot of those players, guys like Jarome, the Mays, they love Benji and part of the reason they went to that footy club, I believe, was after meeting Benji and speaking to Benji. So there is some connection there. I mean, to think they'd walk out in massive deals they've got, like to think that Jarome would walk out in 1.2 million and Terrell May would walk out on what's he on 800,000.
Well, I don't know if he could walk out Terrell May anyway. He's signed, so
he's
is Taylor May.
signed,
So that's why you got to say.
Yeah, that's difficult, right? But I forgot what the question was. What was the question again?
Is Benji furious with the situation, and is there a chance he could walk?
Well, mate, who would be happy with it?
Yeah.
When you're the head coach, who would be happy with it? Particularly when Riccion's been very publicly supportive of Benji, and I understand he's been privately very supportive of Benji. He's always spoken really highly of Benji and what Benji's done, how Benji's improved as a coach while he was at the footy club. So when you lose a voice like that who's so supportive of you, I would think, that would be a setback for Benji. My understanding is Benji, I believe he wants to some sort of guarantees around how the club will operate now that there has been this change and board level will change. And if Benji doesn't like what he sees, look, I know this might sound ridiculous, but maybe Benji decides to walk away anyway. Because if he's got no control anymore, why do you want to be in charge of a footy club where you don't have control as a head coach, where you've got to go to the board to sign players? Like, if you're the head coach, it makes your job really difficult.
There is a genuine convenience to it all as well around his contract, the ability to leverage and use this scenario.
He's got a while left,
to get a contract extension.
I think it's 2 years left, isn't it?
2 years left.
Yeah.
Well, Shane Richardson couldn't have been more glowing. I mean, he poured gravy and bloody.
Benji's got to be realistic.
Everything all over
Benji.
Benji.
Has to be realistic, though, David. I don't think Benji's done enough to warrant getting an extension when he's got 2 years
But
left.
this would be the time if you're Benji to use this
Absolutely.
situation to get an extension.
Because he's got as if the club's going to turn around and go, mate, Benji says the only way I'm staying is if you give me 2 more years.
But desperate times is when people make mistakes.
Even I would say to you, mate, see you later. Because he doesn't, I love Benj, right? And I think he's doing a great job, and he's improving. And he's improving as a coach.
You're only 6 months
away. But he doesn't warrant 2 more. He's got 2 years left.
Yeah, I understand, but you still need to be forward planning with your recruitment. And
2 years is enough.
Well,
Dave.
probably by 6. I reckon in 6 months' time, halfway through next season, you don't think we're going to be talking about Benji's
halfway
future?
Through next, but you get through this year, and then you look at it. Like
Yeah.
you can't like.
I,
With due respect to
I agree
Benj,
with you. I would
like-
do that too. I would do that too.
And if-
However,
I mean, that
due
board-
to the hellfire at the West Tigers at the moment, you would use it as leverage
The
to get an
Holman Barnes
extension.
group, their history suggests they're not really. I don't think they really know what they're doing, right? At a football club in terms of,
No, I agree with
of
you on
leading a football club. So maybe they'll give Benji 5 more years.
Yeah.
Maybe they're that silly
Yeah.
because they've made some silly decisions, as we've seen even in recent weeks.
Yeah.
So you never know with that board. So maybe it is a smart play by Benji to try and take advantage of the situation. But if that board gives Benji an extension now, they're idiots.
Yeah.
Because, and I'm not saying he won't deserve one at some point. If they're going well this year, they get to the midway point of the year, they're in top 8 contention, I'd probably look at, extending him beyond 27. But honestly, they're idiots if they give him an extension now.
Do you not see any cynicism in relation to the way Shane Richardson was so glowing as he's exiting the club, right? With 2 years remaining that he was supposed to be there on this journey with Benji Marshall, he was so glowing of the coach. Like, do you not think there's any thought, what's Richo's play here?
I think he's he's been glowing at Benji from day one. That's just continuing the same theme. He's been very positive about Benji from the day he got there, and I think on the way out he's maintained that positivity towards the coach. I think Richo wants to see Benji succeed. I think he's always wanted to see Benji succeed, and I think, as he said over and over again, he saw a coach who got better and better as the year went on, or during the time he was there. So I just think that's Richo being positive about Benji because he has a good relationship with him and he thinks he could be a good coach.
What about, though, the fact that all these players, like, imagine if Benji does actually leave. The unrest that it would cause the club, the players that would potentially look for an exit. Latu Fine, who's one of their big names. Jarome Luai is one of their big names. Like, I think
Can
they
I
could
just say,
get,
I know
you need
you're
to
saying
calm- I think you need
Latu
to calm-
Fine is a big name.
wait.
That's a bit of a stretch.
sorry, Jahream Bula I meant to say.
Jahream
So
Bula,
maybe-
sorry.
What I will
sorry
say,
about that,
what I'll say to that, Charlie, is I think you need to calm down there, right?
Calm the farm,
Now,
Charlie.
what I know about players, having covering this game for a while now, is yes, they do appreciate their relationship with their coach. However, what they appreciate more is their family and making sure their income is still coming in,
Getting paid.
But Luai will get paid. Bula will get paid.
Yeah.
Will he
So-
get 1.2 million? Maybe at Perth.
Maybe
Does
at
he want to
Perth.
pack up and move to Perth? Probably not.
I mean, I think there's probably maybe the Dragons would be interested in Jarome Luai at over $1 million a year, potentially.
David know that one better than me.
So I don't think so. So if Benji was to move on, and the West Tigers appoint a high quality coach, what are all those players doing then? Are they? Oh well, I'm leaving because, Wayne Bennett decides not to re-sign at Souths, and he jumps over to the Tigers. What they suddenly.
That's a good one.
they suddenly don't want to play at the Tigers. Come
They
on,
tried to
man.
get Wayne years
It's
ago,
about
remember?
they look at their own financial situation and they look at their family situation and that's it. And yeah, I get it. There's a lot of respect there for Benji, but players still sign NRL contracts not knowing who the coach is.
Yeah.
If I'm Holman Barnes, right? Okay, I said I wouldn't give Benji an extension because I think he needs to earn it. But you know what? Right now, I'd be giving him everything he wants in terms of.
So you've changed.
In,
Geez,
no,
you've backflipped.
in terms of
That is one of the
no,
greatest
That's the
backflip.
world
No,
record, the
no,
quickest backflip ever in a
terms-
podcast.
You not let me finish.
Yeah.
In terms of control, and in the areas where he wants control, recruitment, selection around the football club, I'd be giving him Benji everything he wants around the football club. And if things, as I said, if things progress
Hang on a
well
sec, hang on a
next
sec.
year, then you give him an
So
extension.
Benji had never coached a game of rugby league prior to his NRL appointment.
Yep.
Just 3 seasons later,
Mhm.
you are handing him an entire NRL football operations.
No, he's got people helping him. He's not
You
doing it
just
all
said you
himself.
said give him the keys, give him everything.
Yes. But he's got people
After
helping
3
him.
years.
He's got a CEO there to help him. He's got a head of football. Who's his head of football
Well,
these
that's a
days?
great. There you go. You just answered your
Who
own
is the head of
question.
football?
There's no significant GM of football.
Have they got a GM? They have got
Well,
a GM, haven't they?
Sean was being groomed into that space.
Okay, we're going to have to get a new one potentially. That's
Right,
all right. They're
so
out
they've got
there.
no-
They
so
grow
he-
on trees.
So here we go.
I'll do the
You're
job.
handing over the keys to
Jamie
Benji
will do it.
Marshall, who's only a 3-year coach, who has no chairman at this point in time, who has no CEO. And if it is to be Shaun,
No, well, he'll have a CEO in the next
okay.
week
If it
or
is
two,
to be
mate.
Shaun, who's never been an NRL CEO,
But he's
And
been-
we have no significant jam of football
We should
at the West
stress.
Tigers.
We're saying,
there you go, Benji.
We're saying Shaun hasn't been an NRL CEO, but he's been around the NRL before,
Yeah.
and he's been at the club for a little while now, and he has been a CEO, as I said, in soccer. So he's not a novice. I mean, he's been around rugby league. He knows rugby league. So I don't. I obviously got to bring in a head of football or someone to help Benji in the football department. I'm sure they'll do that. And then I'd give Benji what he wants.
So there's a major difference
and let
here.
him earn a new deal, and you've got no excuse, Benj. It's your footy team, your football club. You control it. You run it. And if
if a CEO of Shane Richardson's caliber,
Yep.
of 30 years' experience in the game, has just been spat out by this club, you're now handing the keys to a 3-year coach and a CEO with no experience in the game.
well, he's got experience
No,
in
he
the
doesn't.
game.
Has none.
Yeah, he's been. I'm sure he's been in rugby league before, hasn't he, Shaun?
As an NRL CEO,
No,
as a
not
club
an NRL
CEO. No, he hasn't.
but he's
No.
been in the game before, so he's not a novice, and he's been at that club for a little while now.
And no jam of footy.
Well, have they got a GM? I
Of
can't
significance.
remember. Mate, I just think Benji, this footy club now resides in Benji's hands, basically. Yes, it does. And I think he's good enough to handle it.
But you don't want to give him an extension as well.
Not yet, no.
Not yet.
Not
Okay.
yet, I
Okay,
said.
all right, okay.
I said
you want
not
to give him full
yet.
power, but then
Yes,
if things
full
look,
power.
if they're sitting last after 6 rounds, you're happy to see him sacked.
6 rounds? Who said that?
Well, 10
Ten's-
rounds.
10's
10's the
standard-
number.
standard-
Yeah.
10's
So if they're
the number.
last after 10 games.
Well, they won't be last up to 10 games.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. You want to have a rookie CEO and then a rookie coach
He's not a
managing
rookie
everything.
CEO. He's been a CEO before, just not
Yeah,
NRL.
but
Yeah.
A-League and NRL different. With all due respect, different
The
levels.
bloke's not a dope.
No,
He's been
No.
around sport a long time. He's not an
We're
idiot.
not saying that.
Okay.
I think Shane Richardson would have been better though, potentially.
Well, I think we all agree with that,
Yeah.
don't we?
Yeah.
No, there's no argument there.
Ultimately, like there's 2 players. We've spoken, Charlie, you were talking about the 7 players, etc. There's only 2 players that matter right now, and they're the ones on tenterhooks.
Yeah.
Well, we're led to believe, and that's Jarome Luai, who's made all the public declarations that he's all on board with the West Tigers, but still yet to re-sign his contract. I've said before those clauses in his contract. 6 months ago, I said get rid of them. Right now, I'm saying, mate, you keep them in. Like this club.
Oh, I wouldn't be getting rid of the clauses.
No way.
Shaun was at South and Penrith too, so he has been at NRL clubs previously.
When
South
Shane
and
Richardson
Penrith.
was there, I assume, maybe.
I think he was at probably because
he was
at South,
at
not
South.
at Penrith,
Yeah,
not at Penrith.
Yeah.
So
okay.
he has been in footy rugby league before.
Yeah, he's very well respected in football, as you
He's
said.
about to take on the biggest job in the NRL.
Yeah, maybe the hardest sports executive job in the Southern Hemisphere,
Yeah.
in the West
Well, you
Tigers.
might as well, if
Yeah.
you're going to dip your toe in the water, you might as well dip it right in, yeah?
Riccio, now I read this morning, Curtis was telling me about it, the Riccio had to organise his own press conference and Holman Barnes Group weren't happy with that. Is that correct?
I didn't check that, but probably knowing Riccio, I know Riccio well, he probably did organise his own press conference and I don't think he signed an NDA, so he's entitled to say whatever he wants. I don't think he slagged off from memory the Holman Barnes Group in that press conference, did he? I think he was pretty
Careful with
his words he was saying. So I don't think there's any great issue with that.
I think it's the greatest example of Riccio playing the West Tigers off a break, showing all of his experience to hit them for 6 on the way out. I mean, he was outstanding. He was Churchillian on the way out, and he organised it because of his relationships in the media. And good on him. Where the Holman Barnes Group, you cannot find them. There's a quote here and there in the Herald. They'll push out a little couple of line press quotes here. But that is the greatest.
Well, the CEO,
their lacking.
Their chairman Dave's been at a songwriting festival or something. Oh, yeah.
Did he have his Instagram open when he was there?
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. So you understand, like they got so much to learn. Like it's only just beginning.
Yes.
Riccio, in terms of the payout, do we know anything about the payout yet, or are they keeping that pretty close to their chest? Because obviously Chammy wrote the story about potentially some conflict of interest that Riccio was having, and maybe that could affect the payout. Did it, or do we not know yet?
We don't. Oh, well, I don't know yet.
Yeah.
I know Riccio wouldn't have walked away for free.
Of course,
knowing Riccio for a long time, that he would have walked away with plenty.
Yeah.
If he didn't get the whole lot, I reckon he would have got a lot of it.
Yeah.
So, and he's been from the very start. been very. He's this suggestion that there's been some. I've got to be careful how I say this. Financial irregularities or whatever. He's been very emphatic that it was all above board. The board were aware of it. It was all declared. And the guy's been doing it for 30 years, right? I mean, he's not stupid, Richo. So he wouldn't have put himself in a position where he left himself vulnerable. And if the board approved it, the board approved it. I don't see why it's an issue.
Now, the fan march happening in Ashfield on Saturday, boys, organised by the Inner West Mayor, Darcy Byrne. It does feel like the Tigers fans, I've never seen them as united on an issue as this. They've seemed to all have come together. They want HBG out. I mean, it's good
They're
to see.
calling on the NRL, Charlie.
Yeah.
Like they want the NRL involved to clean this up. Like usually West Tigers fans form a ring around their footy club. They put big fences up and say, "Yeah, you don't you dare throw eggs at us." Not this time. They want the reporters to chase this. They want the NRL involved to take over. And now we see this fan march on Saturday. I'm fascinated to see how it unfolds. I don't think it'll get to South Sydney Rabbitohs proportions, but it'll be. I think it's of significance. What comes of it, I don't know.
Yeah, look, I mean, I just wonder whether the NRL can step in and take control. I'm not sure that they can under their licensing agreement with the clubs, because this isn't the case of a club going broke or doing anything illegal or breaching corporate guidelines or whatever. This is just a case of an ownership group wanting to take back the club, take control of the club. When history has shown, when it's in their hands, it doesn't go so good. But they've decided they want the club back, and I'm not sure the NRL can step in and really make any mass change to what they've done, because, as I said, they're not. It's not as if they're on the bones of their ass.
No.
It's not as if they got no money. It's not as if they're about to fold. They got plenty of money. So I just wonder how much power the NRL's got in this situation. I know Peter V'landys has met with sort of both sides of this argument and spoken to them, but we'll have to see. I just wonder what the NRL's powers are.
Yeah, but I do think it's important they have an overarching view of the entire situation, because we all know the significance of the West Tigers. Like, they are the sleeping giants of the game. For everything we've said, if they can get it right, we're talking about bulldog-size crowds and fan support and TV ratings and their nursery as far as participation is concerned, both in the men's and women's. A huge nursery of talent. It is so important they get it right, which is why the NRL, they have a responsibility.
Yeah, I think they want to. They're listening to the fans, as you said, Dave. And Peter V'landys is listening to the fans. He always talks about, I'm in this for the fans. Well, he's listening to them and he's meeting with both sides to establish where the situation sits. And the sad part is we saw this club make great headway this year, and you could see the rise in optimism amongst those fans you talk about, because this fan base is massive, right? It's massive. But this just feels like we're back to square one, and that's the sad part of it all. I think Peter appreciates. You mentioned the Bulldogs. You've seen it with the Bulldogs. When that club's resurged, the fans have come with them. I think Peter can see the potential of the West Tigers, but it just feels like every time they take 2 steps forwards, they take 3 steps backwards.
It's sad. It's actually
very
sad.
It is sad.
I like, sometimes the Tigers are fascinating because they're the gift that keeps on giving. They always make mistakes, but this is just sad now. It's getting to the point where it's not fun. It's
and
just
it's
like
sad, Charlie, because it's so unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like, this has been so unnecessary. Because they've made these, and there's some of the ridiculous comments that are coming out of Holman Barnes about we weren't kept informed and we weren't. Man, someone brought up the stadium issue the other day, the Leichardt, I think it was the Leichardt Oval issue. Mate, the board agreed to that. They had 2 representatives on the board.
Yeah.
Like, what were those people doing if they weren't reporting back to the Holman Barnes group? Like, there's just so many mistruths and misconceptions being spread. It's pathetic, and that's the thing that makes it so frustrating for fans.
It was suggested to me. Now, I haven't checked this out because it was only a suggestion, that even Richo's comments about the West Tigers never being interested in going to Las Vegas peed a few directors off as far as the Holman Barnes.
Probably wanted the junket over to Las Vegas.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, they are. Let's.
Dennis is one of the great entertainers. Dennis Burgess.
Is he?
He probably, well, of course, he was in Masters
He probably brings his
Masters
guitar.
Apprentices.
Oh, yeah.
He'd have loved to have gone to Vegas, I
I
imagine.
wonder
Yeah.
if that's how he handles the board meeting. He just gets out, plays a little song.
He might have put on his Elvis kit over there. Vegas. Mate, Dennis is, we laugh about him, joke about him, and apparently he doesn't say much in meetings, but he's a very shrewd operator because he's now the chairman of, well, he was the chairman of Holman Barnes. He was the chairman of the chairman of Holman Barnes. He is the chairman of West Magpies. And there was every chance out of this he may become chairman of the West Tigers. Now, we can mock him and laugh about him, but you know what? You've got to be pretty smart to be able to pull that off.
Yeah.
To be the chairman of potentially 3. Now, it looks as though that probably won't happen now because some stuff's come out that hasn't reflected well on him. But he's not the dope people are probably suggesting he is.
Okay.
He's smarter than we think. He's shrewder than we think. He's probably more of a political animal than we think he is.
Yeah. Is there?
And he plays a mean bass guitar.
Well, he's
Yeah,
going.
I'm sure he does,
I can't overstate this. Like he's got the biggest cleanup operation. If it, like his
He
role-
won't be there for it, Dave. I can't
well,
imagine.
at this point in time, he is.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest clean operations. As I said, these fans, they've had enough. Completely had enough of this footy club and the way they operate. I haven't checked out where round 1 is next year. Oh, the
They
Tigers
got the bye.
they
They
got
got
the bye.
They're going to be sitting 9th after round
round.
one.
I'll check out where round 2 is. Like that. It's that countdown to round 2 is going to be huge.
Oh, it's going to destabilise. It has to stabilise the playing group. You'd imagine leading into the footy season, this all happening. The Magpies. There was talk that the Magpies maybe want to, unmerge. And it goes that you got the Western Suburbs Magpies. They stay, and maybe the 20th team is, the Tigers come in. Is there any what be the percentage chance of these teams splitting and going their separate way?
I reckon nil.
Yep. Okay.
And what's the use of going to New Zealand doing the same thing? That's not going to work.
Mm.
And Peter V'landys been quite outspoken saying this will remain the West Tigers.
Yeah.
Now, Pete's not going to be there forever, obviously, but you would hope at some point this political destabilisation calms down and this club can find a way to move forward.
Yeah,
and
look,
move forward harmoniously.
Yeah, well, given the fact that it's now been 20 years, certainly since the 05 premiership, there are so many West Tigers fans that really don't know much
Mate,
about
Dave,
Balmain and
does anybody
Magpies.
support the Magpies anymore? Fair income. Can you imagine? I think most of the fans of this club are Balmain fans.
Yeah.
Like West Magpies have got the money, but I reckon
they're
Balmain
they
bring
should
the
be
fans.
West Tigers fans. They're West Tigers
Yes.
fans.
Yeah,
Forget the Magpies.
that's
forget
right.
Balmain.
That's
But
right.
these people can't, Charlie. But I'm saying, mate, the Western Suburb Magpies, I
They do have
I don't
supporters.
think they've got any
West
supporters
Ash-
left.
You're going to walk through West Ashfield.
But that's a leagues club.
Yeah, I understand, but there's clearly there's every black and white jersey under the sun up on the walls.
Yeah.
Like there's still massive support for them.
We got to go, boys. But I appreciate you coming back from holiday. Enjoy Vanuatu, reading.
Yeah.
We'll have to do this for next week because I reckon there'll be more drama.
Yeah,
from
there
West
probably will
Tigers.
be. Might have to roll buzz
Probably
out
after
of
this
retirement.
podcast could be drama.
Yeah. Maybe we can get a little round table going. Riccio on, Dennis on, break bread, something like that. But no, great show as always,
Thank you,
boys.
boys.
Thanks for joining us.